Hello dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. D.C. Saxena, Professor and Head of the Department of Food Engineering and Technology at Sant Longowal Institute of Engineering and Technology, Longowal. I am presenting you the paper Technology of Meat, Poultry, Fish and Seafood Products. And the present module will give you about the knowledge of composition and nutritive value of meat from different sources by my co-author Ms. Romi Jan.
Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Romi Jan from Sant Longowal Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today I am going to talk about Module 2, Composition and Nutritive Value of Meat from Different Sources of paper number 8, Technology of Meat, Poultry, Fish and Seafood Products. In this module, we will learn about the composition and nutritive value of meat from different sources. The Food Standards Australia New Zealand Food Standard Code defines meat as the whole or part of the carcass of any buffalo, camel, cattle, deer, goat, hare, pig, poultry, rabbit or sheep slaughtered other than in a wild state but does not include eggs or fetuses. Commonly, people use meat to refer only to meat flesh, skeletal muscle plus any attached connective tissue or fat. But the Food Standards Australia New Zealand definition also includes offal, that's meat other than meat flesh, including brain, heart, kidney, liver, pancreas, spleen, thymus, tongue and tripe, although it excludes bone and bone marrow. The term red meat is used by the meat industry to refer to meat from cattle, sheep and goat, that's beef, veal, lamb, mutton and goat meat. It does not include meat from pigs, that's pork, bacon, ham or kangaroo. No less common game meats like buffalo and camel. Although nutrient composition of some of these products is now becoming available, purchased red meat usually consists of both lean tissue, muscle and fat tissue. Processed meat means a product containing no less than 30% meat that has undergone a method of preservation other than freezing and includes manufactured meat and cured and or dried meat flesh, for example, sausages, salami, canned meats. The contents of this module that we will go through includes the following: composition of different meat sources, nutritive value of different meat sources, comparison with other meat sources. The approximate composition of meat is about 75% water, 19% protein, 2.5% lipid, 0.65% minerals and some vitamins. Goat meat is lower in calories, total fat, saturated fat and cholesterol than traditional meats. Less saturated fat and less cholesterol means healthier red meat for the health-conscious consumer. It also contains higher potassium content with lower sodium levels. Many goat breeds have lower carcass fat than sheep and deposit more fat in the abdominal cavity. Goat meat has been established as lean meat with favorable nutritional qualities and it's an ideal choice for the health-conscious consumer. Comparatively, goat meat also contains higher potassium content with lower sodium levels. Beef and lamb meat are among the richest sources of the minerals iron and zinc, with 100 gram providing at least 1/4 of daily adult requirements. Beef and lamb also have more omega-3 fatty acids than either chicken or pork, although fish is still a significantly better source than any of the red meats. Regarding essential amino acid composition, goat meat closely resembles that of beef and lamb. Goat meat offers more nutritional value, greater health benefits, and is an ideal choice to be considered as the other red meat. Additionally, goat meat has higher levels of iron, 3.2 mg, when compared to a similar serving size of beef, 2.9 mg, pork, 2.7 mg, lamb, 1.4 mg, and chicken, 1.5 mg. Live goat have a superior meat type of conformation without regard to the presence of fat cover. They shall be thickly muscled throughout the body as indicated by a pronounced bulging outside leg, a full rounded loin, and a moderately thick outside shoulder. Fat, however, is not only a concentrated source of energy for the body but also improves meat palatability as it affects texture, juiciness, and flavor, as well as being important for meat preservation. All unsaturated fatty acids and stearic fatty acid are categorized as desirable fatty acids. The average percentage of desirable fatty acids in goat meat was estimated between 61 and 80%. The mean desirable fatty acids of some Ethiopian goats is 70%. The value of goat meat in human nutrition can't be considered without reference to the production characteristics of goat keeping. Traditionally, goats in the developing regions are free-ranged or rear-herded, communally with little management care. General characteristics of goat favoring meat production are: females are early maturing, highly prolific, have good fecundity and mothering ability. An extended breeding season, foraging preferences of goats cause them to gaze a wider spectrum of plants than other small stock, which accounts for their ability to thrive in adverse conditions. Foraging may account for relatively low parasite infestation. Goats exploit available feed resources selectively, consuming material with sufficient digestible organic matter at or exceeding their maintenance needs selectively, and small size enable them to utilize tropical shrub and scrub pastures more efficiently than cattle. Goats are generally well adapted to hot environments, tolerating the extremes of desert conditions and high temperature, humidity conditions of the tropics. Because of small size, large surface area to body weight ratio, and ability to conserve water, limited subcutaneous fat cover, and the particular nature of their coats. Camels are a source of meat for humans and pets. Comparisons of camel meat with other meats show that camel steak has protein levels similar to beef. It has significantly less fat than lamb and chicken, which have 8 times more fat, and pork chops, which have 14 times more fat than a camel steak. This also contains less cholesterol, 61 mg of cholesterol per 100 gram, compared with 70 mg beef, 130 mg lamb, and 100 mg chops. Fat and ash content of camel meat is lower than that of beef. Camel meat is a very important in arid and semi-arid regions in the world, where it constitutes an important resource for some countries such as Sudan, Somalia, and Mauritania, as camels are considered more efficient than the other farm animals in the production of meat, where it represents about 8% of the meat production in the Arab countries. Male camels or slaughtered when they are 1 to 3 or even 4 to 5 years old, which is considered their best age for meat production. As they grow older, their meat becomes tougher and loses quality because of old fibers and muscles. Camel meat is known for its large muscular fibers and high percentage of water. It has a little sweet taste because of the presence of glycogen, and its color is red or dark brown. According to FAO Statistics 2009, the production quantity of camel meat in the world has reached 3,51,548 tons per year. Africa 2,49,206 tons per year, and Asia 1,02,253 tons per year. Has been formed 99% of the production in the world. Sudan 49,882 tons per year, Egypt 45,000 tons per year, Somalia 44,200 tons per year, Mauritania 22,500 tons per year, United Arab Emirates 19,853 tons per year are representing the highest production of camel meats in the world. It's evident from results that camel meat oil has high content of palmitic acid and oleic acid. These two fatty acids are essential in humans. In comparison with the beef, camel meat is rich in the amino acids that are necessary to humans. Camel meat, especially young cows, is similar in taste and texture to beef. The amino acids content of camel meat are often higher than beef, probably due to lower intramuscular fat levels. These percentages mean that camel meat is higher than beef in protein and minerals. Camel meat contains a high ratio of good quality of protein. Accordingly, the moisture to protein ratios of the camel and fish were higher than those of beef, lamb, goat, and chicken. Camel meat is also a good source to many vitamins, especially vitamin B complex and important minerals such as iron, calcium, and phosphorus. Camel meat is also characterized by low levels of cholesterol, 61 mg, as compared to other farm animals like beef, which contains 75 to 86 mg, making it a healthy food for humans. Camel meat has a similar flavor and texture to that of beef, but with comparatively higher moisture content. However, there is difference in the percentage of protein, water, fat, and ash of meat from various parts of the body. The age of the animal also affects the composition of the meat. Camels younger than 5 years have less protein, fat, and ash than older camels. Nevertheless, these relatively small differences in protein are comparable with the protein content of beef, whether it's from a bull, cow, or steer. The fat and ash content of camel meat is lower than that of beef. Comparisons of camel meat with other meats show that camel steak has protein levels similar to beef and has significantly less fat than lamb and chicken, which have 8 times more fat, and pork chops, which have 14 times more fat than a camel steak. Camel steak also contains less cholesterol, that is 61 mg of cholesterol per 100 gram of uncooked camel meat, compared with 70 mg, 130 mg, and 100 mg for beef, lamb chops, and chicken meat respectively. Camel meat had similar protein and moisture percentage and lower fat and ash percentage than cattle meat. The protein content of camel meat was slightly lower than cattle, sheep, goat, and chicken meat. Camel meat had lower fat content than cattle, sheep, goat, and chicken and higher than fish meat. The quality of meat produced by younger animals less than 3 years was comparable to beef in taste and texture. Camel meat is in fact leaner than other red meats, have fewer calories, and is low in cholesterol. Compared to beef, camel meat tastes sweeter due to its high glycogen. Camel meat is healthy and nutritional as it contains reduced fat contents in comparison to other meats, especially beef. It also contains a healthy level of minerals. This is an important factor in combating the risk of cardiovascular disease, which is attributed to saturated fat consumption. Camel meat is also used for remedial purposes for diseases such as hyperacidity, hypertension, pneumonia, and respiratory disease, as well as an aphrodisiac. However, camels are mostly produced under traditional extensive systems on poor levels of nutrition. These are mostly slaughtered at older age after a career in work, racing, or milk production. Camels reach live weights of about 650 kg at 7 to 8 years of age and produce carcass weights ranging from 125 to 400 kg with dressing out percentage values from 55% to 70%. Camel carcasses contain about 57% muscle, 26% bone, and 17% fat, with 4 halves, cranial to rib 13, significantly heavier than the hind halves. Camel lean meat contains about 78% water, 19% protein, 3% fat, and 1.2% ash, with a small amount of intramuscular fat, which renders it a healthy food for humans. The amino acid and mineral contents of camel meat are often higher than beef, probably due to lower intramuscular fat levels. Now we will learn about comparison of camel and other sources of meats. Chemical intramuscular fat levels in camel meat vary greatly. However, the maximum value of fat, 10.5%, is present in camel between 5 and 8-year-old, while 4.4% in 1 to 3-year-old camel. This indicates that the fat content of camel meat may increase with age. Camel meat, like other red meats, contains high levels of potassium followed by phosphorus, sodium, magnesium, and calcium respectively, plus smaller percentages of other elements. Camel meat has been described as raspberry red to dark brown in color, and the fat of the camel meat is white. Camel meat is similar in taste and texture to beef. Calcium content of camel meat is higher than beef, which may partly explain the tight structure of some cuts of camel meat. The most abundant essential amino acids in camel meat and other meats are lysine, leucine, and arginine. The ratio of linoleic acid metabolites to linolenic acid metabolites in camel meat is about 10.9, which is much higher than the ratio for cattle, sheep, and goat, which contains 2, 2.4, and 2.8 respectively. Studies and medical research proved that camel meat is superior to other kinds of meat. The camel is distinguished from other animals by the fact that the percentage of its intramuscular fat declines as the animal gets older. This quality, only found in camels, makes their meat less fatty, so its consumption is healthy and recommended for weight loss. And this quality also reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease and atherosclerosis, since it lowers the percentage of cholesterol in the blood. Camel meat has other medical qualities too, like protecting against cancerous tumors, as claimed by some researchers, because it contains unsaturated fatty acids like linoleic acid, which interact with other unsaturated fatty acids taken from vegetable oils to protect against cancer. Camel meat can also be used as a cure for exhaustion and fatigue because it contains energy needed by body cells. Such energy comprises sugar, not fat. Since a camel's meat is concentrated in its hump, whereas other animals store it in their muscles. In addition, camel meat contains glycogen, a carbohydrate which is easily absorbed and metabolized in the body and is converted to glucose, which activates nerve as well as other cells. Another quality which makes it good for the elderly is its richness in glycogen, which is converted into glucose and is needed by the nervous system to provide cell energy and thus support the work of nerve cells. Camel meat prevents obesity and heart diseases. A Tunisian study which compares various meats such as beef, lamb, camel, and chicken has revealed that camel meat is the best by far human consumption, especially for those people who are afraid to gain weight and who would like to be protected by heart disease. Camel meat can be used as a cure for cold and sciatica, stroke, cancer, and infections, especially among older people, because this meat can safeguard muscle health. This is due to its low percentage of saturated fatty acids and cholesterol compared to other kinds of meat. In fact, the food value of camel meat is higher than poultry meat and equals that of the ostrich. The dry matter content of donkey's meat is slightly higher, which contains 23.68 to 30.68 compared to beef. The protein content is high 55.05, high 5.10 to 8.19% compared to that of beef. The organic matter content of meat obtained from donkey is lower. Donkey meat is good in nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, and iron. Nitrogen content was higher 8.810, higher percentage of potassium and phosphorus 9.99%, indicating their higher levels of crude protein. The magnesium content in donkey's meat is 0.057 to 0.081. The potassium levels in donkey ranged from 0.287 to 0.414%. The hip had slightly higher potassium levels 0.414% and the chuck lower 0.287%. The iron concentration in donkeys is the highest 30.958 to 35.838 parts per million. Most animal products are poor sources of the vitamins. Poultry meat has a significant content of vitamins. The quantity of vitamin E of poultry meat is low. The main function of vitamin E, that is alpha tocopherol, is to protect susceptible cellular structures, especially polyunsaturated fatty acids in membrane phospholipids and in plasma lipoproteins against damage from oxygen-free radicals. Vitamin E functions primarily as an antioxidant in biological systems by trapping peroxide free radicals. The highest content of protein is in chicken breast muscles. Breast muscles contain approximately 22% of proteins, while thigh muscles, which contain more fat, consists of approximately 17.2% of protein. Average of protein content in breast and thigh muscles are 20.73% and 19.10% approximately. The limited effect of diet on the nutrient composition of lean meat is illustrated in a trial in which the composition of intensively reared beef, that's fed barley and protein supplements with grazing ad lib, was compared with extensively reared grazing alone as two extremes of husbandry practice. Analysis of the same muscles from animals on the two systems showed no significant differences in their content of protein, fat, iron, thymine, riboflavin, and niacin. There were greater differences between animals fed on the same system on different farms than between different feeding systems, showing that management practices had the greater effect. With the exception of vitamin A stored in the liver, diet has little effect on vitamin content, but it has been shown that the addition of thymine to the diet of pigs can double or treble the amount of thymine in various muscles. As animals grow, the proportions of total nitrogen and fat and also the amounts of iron increase as the animals approach the maturity, and more slowly after that. At the same time, the ratio of polyunsaturated to saturated fatty acids falls. Collagen connective tissue becomes less soluble and less digestible, so the animals that are poorly fed and so take several years to reach a useful size provide meat of lower eating quality. Animals killed after a lifetime of work provide even tougher meat. Older animals have a high proportion of water-soluble extractives in the muscle, and animals reared on poor pasture and which are therefore relatively old by the time they reach a size suitable for slaughter have long been used for the preparation of meat extract. So student, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. Red meat contains high biological value protein and important micronutrients that are needed for good health throughout the life. It also contains a range of fats including essential omega-3 polyunsaturated fats. There are some differences between the four meats. In general, lean red meat is a particularly good source of protein, niacin, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, phosphorus, zinc, and iron, with 100 gram providing more than 25% recommended daily intake of these nutrients. Red meats are also good sources of selenium, providing over 20% recommended daily intake per 100 gram serve. Although it's likely that selenium values in meat will be significantly affected by where animals feed and the time of the year of sampling. Mutton muscle meat, which has more than 60 mg of eicosapentaenoic acid plus docosahexaenoic acid per serving of red meat, can be described as a good source of long-chain omega-3 polyunsaturated fats.
Now you have the knowledge of composition and nutritive value of meat from different sources, which has been well explained by my co-author. Now, in the next module, you will be giving information and knowledge about the muscle structure and composition of meat products. Thank you.